Hello and welcome to another informative weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. 'Tis the season to be joyful, unwind and share the love. But as we celebrate, there are important safeguards we should keep in mind. Today we're sharing another interesting mix of informative features to help you stay safe, secure and healthy during the festive period. So sit back and relax as it all unfolds right now.
My message to Jamaica as we enter into the festive season, that is what we want to make it festive. We are somewhat tired of seeing persons just killing each other. We want to see a reduction in the violence. Now is the time for love. Remember, the reason for the season is about love, it's about giving, it's about sharing and caring for each other. So we want to have a season where we see less murder, less shooting, less robbery, less violence among each other. And as we go through the season, we want to be mindful that we are contending with a pandemic, COVID-19. There are a number of restrictions out there that are governed by the Disaster Risk Management Act. I urge my fellow citizens to work with your community, work with the police, so that we don't have a spread. I understand that people want to go about your normal routine. I know you want to have the recreation, you want to have the parties. So let us just conform and see how best we can reduce the spread. So I look forward to a wonderful Christmas, and I wish for you and your entire family a safe and holy season. God bless you all.
We are conducting a lot of our daily activities using electronic means, cell phones, tablets, computers and other devices that allow us to shop, pay our bills and even socialize by connecting through the internet. These are indeed useful, but we want you to be aware of the security risks that come with using these devices and connecting to the internet. Keep watching to find out what these are and how to secure your devices and data.
Cybersecurity trends, though ever-changing, are a constant in today's society, even more so due to the increased usage of technology to attend school, conduct meetings, carry out work tasks, and basic day-to-day necessities.
There are a lot of trends out there, but as far as the online space, phishing is one of the enduring challenges out there, and the trend these days is to actually utilize COVID-19 resource sites as a platform from which to launch these attacks. They look very much like the official sites for a lot of these companies, and if you're really not wary, you will actually not realize that there are subtle changes such as misspellings, such as a graphic that is not where it should be.
So phishing, what really is it? According to our research, it is a type of social engineering attack often used to steal your user data, including login credentials and credit card numbers. As Lieutenant Colonel Sterling just explained, the hackers can replicate a trusted website. They can even trick you into opening malicious emails and messages. Once you do this, by clicking the link attached, you could very well be giving the hackers access to your private information, so be careful.
Additionally, we've seen an uptick in ransomware, and this is where this usually starts as part of a phishing campaign, and when you have fallen victim, the end result is that the attacker gains access to either your device or your network, and they encrypt your files and ask for ransom. But we're also seeing an increase in cryptojacking. This is where hackers will actually steal your cryptocurrencies and they will take them to exchanges and cash out. So as Jamaicans become more adept at buying cryptocurrency and supporting our own digital currency issued by the central bank, they have to be more wary of some of the pitfalls of cryptojacking online. Now, we have seen also a good trend where the use of HTTPS for web-facing resources has increased by about 174% within the region. We have also seen a downward trend in malware infections because more persons are installing antivirus and anti-malware software and are generally becoming more responsible in their use. The need for security, if you really measure it, is costly, but the existence of a lack of security can be even more costly. Now, for the individual, there are free apps within the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store that you can use to help to secure your devices. And sometimes for a nominal cost, there are some that you can also use that will do a better job. Now, what works for you is really going to be up to what you do online and the devices that you have. But the risk of not having any protection at all is one that cannot necessarily have a dollar value placed to it. If your device gets encrypted by ransomware, what is the cost of it? Do you have backups? So that's another thing that you need to do, to back up your device, not just the settings, but also your data on the device. It is very easy to get pirated software or so-called free software from some download sites and torrents, but usually they come with unwelcome and hidden residents that will take over your devices and will sometimes cause you grief. So while it does have a cost attached to it, you have to do the cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of not having security versus having security? And I can almost assure you that when you really do it, the cost of security will work out way cheaper than not having security.
Do you know what a disability is? A permanent loss of function in any part of your body is called a disability. Some people are born that way. Others get a disability because of an illness or an accident. This doesn't have to prevent you from living a full life. The Disabilities Act will protect your right to work, raise families, or do business like anyone else. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
There are many traditions associated with Christmas, and quite a few of them involve food. It's the time of year when we feast. By all means, enjoy all the dishes of the season, but be careful not to be excessive. It's important to manage our food intake to help ward off conditions such as obesity. Here's why this weighty matter is not to be taken lightly.
Overweight is defined as having an excess amount of body weight, but that can occur from increased amounts of muscle, bone, fat, or water, whereas obesity is defined as having an excess amount of body fat.
The excess fat that leads to a diagnosis of obesity mainly occurs when the body takes in more calories from foods than it is able to burn through exercise and normal daily activities. The result is a major health threat, as obesity is usually accompanied by other issues such as type 2 diabetes mellitus and non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, heart disease, stroke, and various cancers.
Obese men are more likely than non-obese men to die of cancers of the colon, rectum, and prostate, and obese women are more likely than non-obese women to die of cancers of the gallbladder, breast, cervix, uterus, and ovaries. There are other conditions like gallbladder disease of different kinds, which are associated with obesity.
Infertility and poor quality of life can also result. So diagnosis and management of obesity is of enormous significance.
And there are ways to assess it. The commonest way to assess obesity is by using what we call the body mass index, or BMI. And the BMI is essentially your body weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. And we have scales to judge what your weight status would be. Less than 18.5 BMI would be considered to be underweight. Normal weight is 18.5 to 24.9. 25 to 29.9 will be considered to be overweight, and BMIs of greater than 30 are all considered to be obese.
It's generally easier to gain weight than it is to lose it, which means avoiding practices that lead to excess fat consumption is the easiest route to avoiding obesity. But if you're already overweight, the process may be difficult, but it is achievable. You may need help from physicians, nutritionists, physical trainers, and even therapists, so you should seek them out if that's the case. Either way, most experts will tell you that weight loss requires behavioral change, lifestyle changes that are gradual and long-term.
The problem in our society, of course, is the same as anywhere else. Less physical activity, we're working harder, we don't have time to schedule exercise, and of course, unhealthy eating habits. So more fast food, less fruits and vegetables, less freshly prepared foods, and consumption of large amounts of sugar-sweetened beverages. So this is what fuels it.
Eating healthy helps to keep us healthy. Are you thinking about what would be a healthy and balanced meal, but just can't decide on what foods you should be having? Jamaica's food-based dietary guidelines can provide you with answers. The guideline from the Ministry of Health provides information for individuals, health professionals, nutrition educators, and the food industry. It encourages a daily diet of items from all the food groups. That should include fruits and vegetables, as well as peas and beans and nuts. And the things we ought to avoid are clear: excess salt, that is more than the daily recommended amount, as well as fats and oils and sugary foods and drinks. Also,
if you lead a sedentary lifestyle, then it's very easy for you to become obese because you're not going to be able to burn off the calories that you take in. And of course, if you eat unhealthily, you're more likely to become obese because your body's going to store all these excess calories as fat.
So one of the ways to counteract obesity is to engage in regular physical exercise, like going for brisk walks, jogging, swimming, or riding a bicycle. Regular exercises like these burn calories and get rid of excess fat and weight, helping to control blood cholesterol, blood sugar, and even high blood pressure. Experts in health services say children can be set up to become obese later in life. Don't be weighted down by obesity. Take charge of your good health. Eat well, exercise, and get about the business of living well.
It's absolutely critical that we receive the vaccines. You will see hospitalizations and indeed deaths likely come down. And so there is a lot of value to be gained by getting as many vulnerables on board as possible. So tell your mothers, tell your aunts, listen out for yourselves if you're over 60, and take the vax, because the vax is what will help you to guard against the COVID virus and indeed help your relatives, your friends, those who you come in contact with for the same benefit.
In this season of gift giving and merrymaking, if you are gifting or receiving a drone or unmanned aerial vehicle, you should take keen note of the rules and requirements for operating these machines. It's a matter of law.
Drones, more formally known as unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or unmanned aircrafts, are used by many persons for various purposes. In recent years, there has been an increase in drone ownership and use in Jamaica, prompting strict regulations by the authorities. Commercial drone users are required to get a special aerial work permit from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA, each time a drone or other unmanned power-driven aircraft that flies without a human operator on board is to be used. This is important in order to address issues of aviation safety and security, as well as national security and privacy. Operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven aircrafts must apply in writing to the JCAA, and the applicant must provide all details of the intended flight. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority mandates that drone users must not fly these devices at a height exceeding 400 feet or 122 meters above ground level. Also, recreational users must not go beyond the maximum range of 1,640 feet or 500 meters, or within 500 feet or 152 meters of an organized open-air assembly of people. Nor should these drones or UAVs be flown over or within 165 feet or 50 meters of any person. The guidelines also demand that persons not operate these aerial devices over a private or public property or dwelling without prior permission. Unmanned aerial devices should also not be operated at nights or during low visibility conditions. Persons are not to use drones or unmanned aerial vehicles to drop or discharge any item to the ground. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority's guidelines stipulate restricted and prohibited airspace where drones and other UAVs are either restricted or must not fly. In the restricted zones, drones are not allowed to take off unless a permit is obtained from the JCAA. Prohibited airspaces are designated where no flights by these devices are allowed. Some of the prohibited areas include Jamaica House, King's House, the Police Commissioner's Office, Jamaica Defence Force Up Park Camp, and the Petrojam Refinery. Restricted zones include flight training areas assigned to flight schools and the JDF Air Wing, Newcastle Training Base, and other JDF facilities across the island. There is a 5-kilometer or 3.1-mile radii no-fly zone for drones around aerodromes, as well as Norman Manley Sangsters and Ian Fleming International Airports. The policy in Jamaica is similar to industry practices in North America and the United Kingdom, where permission from the managers of the aerodromes and restricted or prohibited airspaces are sought prior to the issuance of a permit. So, for drone operation at or near aerodromes, communication is made with air traffic control, which will dictate flight times, which is included in the permit to the drone operator. All drone flights in prohibited and restricted airspaces will require a notice to airmen or NOTAM. The NOTAM is prepared by the JCAA and issued to the aviation industry in advance of the date the drone will operate, that is, 3 to 4 days lead time. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority demands that UAV users cease operation of these devices once a safety hazard is apparent and should not resume operation until the risk is resolved. All incidents that occur while using these aerial devices must be reported to the authority in order for the cause to be determined and for corrective measures to be implemented. The JCAA inspectors and law enforcement officers have the authority to intervene at any time. So, operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven devices are encouraged to heed the regulations or face the penalty if the matter is brought before the court.
Moving goods across borders through customs has become more convenient with an online mode of processing documents. Here's a look at some of the offerings and opportunities for persons involved in importing or exporting.
With the implementation of digital platforms to facilitate trade, the ease of doing business is not just a phrase, but reality. Through the ratification of the Trade Facilitation Agreement, the government of Jamaica has put systems in place to improve cross-border trade.
This is definitely a step in the right direction.
The following services are available through J-Swift. These include motor vehicle dealership license, heavy-duty equipment import permit, as well as for hydrogen and rare gases. Traders will also be able to access import permits for refined sugar and milk powder, motor vehicle and motorcycle, as well as for chassis and clips. For persons importing plant and plant-based products, such permit is available through J-Swift.
Right now with the new J-Swift platform, it's a preferred method.
Using this platform, the Jamaica Customs Agency, the Trade Board Limited, and other border regulatory agencies across Jamaica are able to process documents submitted online by traders in a timely manner. That also includes Certificate of Origin.
So currently, the respective parties are able to go online and do a self-registration, providing their details, and that to do with the company to which are being associated. And thereafter, they will have access to a suite of online applications. So whether it is for applying for a permit, applying for a license, or in this case, a certificate of origin, which is involved in exports.
After registering and receiving your user login from the J-Swift platform, the trader is now able to make an application. The system also allows for the attachment of supporting documents.
For example, if you're doing a motor vehicle import application, you'll be required to submit the pre-shipment inspection, the invoice, and of course the other documents, for example, the certificate of registration or title. There are others which will just require simply a commercial invoice, and there are others which will require more details by way of the data that is being submitted on the application form.
The most recent service offered on the J-Swift platform by the Trade Board Limited is that of the Certificate of Origin. The trader will enter the exporter and co-signee details on the general information page of the application. The trader will then complete the special segment, which includes the country of destination, producer or manufacturer details, transport details, followed by the item details page, which will allow the trader to enter each item and commercial description along with the country of origin, the origin criterion, and invoice details. The related invoice must then be uploaded as a supporting document, after which the trader will submit the application and proceed to make payment using the online payment service. The application will thereafter be assigned in real time to an officer for processing. The approved Certificate of Origin with the electronic signature, stamp, and reference number will be available for download once the application has been approved. The trader will also benefit from a system-generated CARICOM invoice with details of the approved products from the Certificate of Origin. If the application consists of clothing and textile, the system will also generate a Certificate of Jamaican Origin, JN2 or JN3, with the relevant details.
There are a list of criteria that we check for based on whenever the clients submit their documents to us. So we check to ensure that both invoice and certificates, the consignee and the the company that is exporting the product is indeed correct. We also check to ensure that no clients will be exporting another client's product, because that can be a breach on our part. Each certifying officer will check to ensure that all products are deemed certified for export for duty-free treatment. Once that is done, we approve the document, and those documents are then sent back to the client via their dashboard, where they are able to print it, and they are also able to upload the same document to the Asikuda system.
Another benefit to using the J-Swift platform is making payments. That can also be done on the system, eliminating the need to go to multiple places for this transaction.
After the payment is done, you will get a verification from the J-Swift platform saying the permit has been paid for and is being processed. So in a day or two, you'd get an email that permit has been approved. So in fact, it doesn't take very long to do the payment. Once the payment has been made and verified, the Trade Board will assign an assessor to work on that application.
Before you are able to submit your Certificate of Origin on the J-Swift system, there's a key element. You would have to complete your product analysis form so that we can tell you if your product qualifies for duty-free treatment. If it does qualify, we will submit a letter to you informing you. But if it does not qualify, we will still submit a letter to you, but we will guide you and provide you with the necessary information to tell you why.
To help stakeholders maneuver the J-Swift platform, the Jamaica Customs Agency is carrying out ongoing training sessions.
Along with the training sessions, so what we have done is to prepackage the material. So we do have our YouTube channel that is Learning J-Swift, which has quite a bit of the videos, which would guide persons as to use the service. We also have our e-learning platform, that's learning.jswift.gov.jm, where persons can go and register for the online learning platform and of course enroll and go through the training material at their own pace and at their time and convenience.
With J-Swift coming online with Certificate of Origin, the EUR, I am sure that trade will be speeded up.
So far for us it has been very efficient. It's less time taken up to having to stamp so many documents because it's now digital. And with all of that, we're able to focus on additional duties that we have that is need to be completed at the trade board.
The online services certainly is a step in the right direction. We do understand the constraints of the pandemic and the need for us to provide services that are far more convenient to our citizens or traders.
Jamaica's single window for trade, J-Swift, enabling faster processing and release of commodities, transparency, trader compliance, reduced costs associated with trade regulatory requirements, while fostering best practice and improving trade standards.
What people want are good memories to say, wow, I got this from this person and they really thought about me. So how about looking for some pictures that you have of you and that special person and packaging it nicely or putting it in a picture frame? That could make a really nice gift. Or think about what is their financial goal that they're trying to save towards. And it may be that you put a nice little card and say, hey, I'm contributing towards X because I know it means the world to you. Or look around the home. What is it that they really want? It could be something as simple as lovely pillows for a woman, right? And you may buy her a set of pillows. Look for something that means the world to that person. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. It just has to show that you've put in a whole lot of heart.
This is where we end our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another show. Until then, there is more to watch on our website, jis.gov.jm or YouTube channel. Also, check out all the major social media platforms and our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson reminding you that COVID-19 is still a keep. So get vaccinated and wear your mask, wash your hands and sanitize regularly. Till next time, keep safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.